I have to talk to our hero from Mexico 2017, and it's a real honor to talk to you and to see all these pictures that you did in Honduras and all the good work in behalf of Israel.
Yeah, the whole delegation did a very good job. We are satisfied, but still very, very sad for this, for that people, for those people that the situation is not good in Honduras.
Tell us a little bit about the situation. What did you find out when you got there?
After Eta and Iota, more than 4 million people in Honduras got infected. Hurricane is causing mass casualties and mass affected areas. Most of the agricultural lands were damaged, and for a population that their job is in agricultural fields, it's a problem. So what we found is that a lot of villages were erased.
Erased totally. Completely?
Erased, completely erased. Whipped out, completely whipped out. Some of them were badly damaged. I think that the damage is estimated in tens of billions of dollars, because it's not only infrastructures, it's agricultural lands and displaced people affection that the government should support them in the shelters. So it will the duration of this situation, this period, I think it will be at least 1 year, maybe 2, till the situation will balance again.
Wow. And how many people went to, how many Israelis went to Honduras?
The composition of the delegation was 15 experts from the fields of engineering, command and control, population behavior officers, and of course medicine, with 2 security guys, of course. We have been accompanied by the representative of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Itzhakov, and Amir Shalom, that was the representative of the Ministry of Defense from Mexico.
Wow, this is amazing. And what is this person of behavioral affairs?
Population behavior officer.
Yes.
Is she? She was an officer. She's a woman.
Okay.
She's experts on evaluation the situation according to the people behavior, which means she is doing a lot of interviews. She's a social psychologist, and she has a lot of professional methods about strengthening the population in the shelters, and of course supporting the managers of those shelters how to manage properly these camps, daily schedule, principles of medicine, these kind of things.
I see. And did you have to find out where people, if there were survivors, like in Mexico, or
No.
was it another kind of work?
No, it's another kind of disaster. We first of all we mapped the main problems, which means in the first day, we landed in Wednesday. Thursday morning, we were in a helicopter with Mr. Max Gonzalez, the head of COPECO, and Ms. Claudia Herrera, the secretary of CEPREDENAC. We flight over the initial place of the dams. They were planning 2 dams on the rivers, the Chamalecon and Olua rivers, and if those dams were already established in the time of the hurricanes, I think that most of the damage could be prevented. So first thing that we made is this flight in aim to see what can be done right now to promote these big dams building. So with my engineer, Amnon Leibovich, we saw an alternative point that the dam could be built, and we recommended after a few days in a meeting that we arranged with the top 5 engineers in Honduras and top 5 engineers from Israel, Zoom meeting, of course. We have proposed this recommendation, and I think that they considering it very seriously, and they wanted after they asked after that meeting that it will be continued discussing this proposal, and this was the first thing that we made. After that, we did the mapping period. It took us 24 hours in the shelters, in the field, interviews, surveys, technological surveys, and we had a picture Thursday evening.
What is this picture about?
The picture evaluated what are the main problems right now in the most affected area. We chose this area. It's a triangle of Choloma, San Pedro Sula, and La Lima. Those 3 cities. We mapped all this area, not all every single house, of course, but a demo of all these structures, infrastructures, interviews, shelters from this area, and we had a picture of the main problems. What should we, as a delegation, should focus on the next 5 days, and what will be the principles of working in front of the government, in front of COPECO in these days.
And then you went into action.
Yeah. We split it. We divided the work to 2 levels. One level is, I would say, methodology, guidance, consulting. This is one level, which means we had a lot of meeting and instructions in front of the managers of the disasters, from the fields of medicine, from the field of shelters, from the field of engineering, from the field of command and control, all the responsibles of the technology systems, and we learned together what are the Israeli methodologies, how to manage the data, how do the managers could have right decisions according to these data. And this was one level. 30% of the delegation, about 5 people, were dealing only in this. And the other, in the 2 level, in the second level, we're dealing I would say, the operational part of the mission. We have tried to prove that the Israeli model is it can be succeeded in this place also. The Israeli model of disaster means that people should not stay on shelters. We know this principle from all our periods of wars, that after a few days, the population get used to the shelters. I would not say fall in love, but get used to it, and it's pretty comfortable that you have water, you have light, you have medicine care, and you stay in the shelters, even that you have the opportunity to restore your house. It comes parallel that the government sometimes do not focus in restoring these villages, and so nobody has a specific interest to get those people out of the shelters. In the opposite, they take care very good in those people in the shelters, so the problems remains. What we did is to take the most affected village. We evaluated the situation when we understood that La Lima was the city that got most damaged, and in La Lima there are 19 municipalities, and the most damaged one of them was Cruz de Valencia, this village that contains about 300 families, and we chose this village, and we worked for four and a half days, and we succeeded to return to this village about I would say about more than 60 families returned to the village after
Wow.
the war.
How many there were before?
When we arrived, there were in the village about 30 families from 300, 10%. When we left, there were more than 100 families after 4 days.
Okay. And what is the practical work you did there? I saw solar panels. I saw construction.
Mm-hmm. The first and the most important thing is to reestablish the water system, because if you don't have water, people will not come back to their homes. So in Shabbat, we fixed the water system. It's a long story. I make it short. We arrived in 10 o'clock in the morning, and in 4 p.m., there was water.
Wow.
Yeah, we brought an electricity engineer. We bought some components. We changed all the electricity table, and in 4 o'clock there was water in the village. We got a lot of assistance from Copeco, Max Gonzalez, a lot of assistance from the mayor of the municipality, La Lima, Moutinho. He brought us many tractors, and we fought this mud. It was very, very deep in the first day, but from day to day, it was less deep. And after 2 days, people could walk in the mud and arrive.
How did you
to their houses?
How did you fight the mud?
Very deep.
Yes,
very,
but
very
how
deep.
did you how did you deal
almost,
with it?
With tractors and dump trucks and a lot of spirit, because mud is making you it is very difficult to deal with mud. Okay, nobody wants to deal with mud because it never ends. You take 2 or 3 machines and you start working, and the mud is still coming back and remain deep. Only after 2-3 days you start seeing the end of the. You start seeing the road, the original road under this mud.
Yes, because you said there were 7 meters of mud.
At the beginning, there were 7 meters of water. But after the water went off, the mud remains, and it covers all the area. The whole village was covered with mud.
It covers the houses.
It covers. When we arrived, it didn't cover the houses. There were villages that were underwater, still underwater, but the villages that could be influenced by people, like Cruz de Valencia, the mud covers to the middle of the walls.
Wow.
But the main rooms and the roofs were already clean and without mud.
I see. Wow, this is impressive. And then you started with the water.
We started with the water. We continued with evacuating the roads from the mud with machinery and mud dump trucks. We continued with fixing the roof with metal sheets that we got from Copeco and tools that we bought, screws, electric screws, hammers, metal sheets, all the components all the materials needs to reestablish the houses. And like this, house after house, we fixed with the people, with the citizens, their houses. One day we bought, some of the delegation's member bought from his money 27 solar lights to light the main street at night, because there was no electricity. So in dark, all the people are leaving the place because there is no light. So we thought about it, and he bought from his money 27 solar lights, and in evening it was exciting to see the main road in light again.
Wow! Yes, it is. It is very impressive. I am surprised that they let you go.
They didn't want to let us go, and we also we were moved from their feelings and from their love, and we loved them back because we saw very kind people suffering, and it was touching. And when we arrived to Israel, till now we had 3 Zoom meeting with the people from San Pedro Sula and from La Lima that want to keep to stay to keep in touch, to stay in this process that we've started with them to manage the data correctly and to manage. This evening we have with medicine managers from San Pedro Sula. Yesterday we had with the intelligence, the technology systems managers. Day before we had also with Sefer Denak. I think that the Israeli-Honduran connection will be continued in the next few months.
Can you tell us one story that happened to you that was especially moving for you?
I think that the restoring of the water system was the most exciting thing, because I understood that this giant, this monster that named no water in the village could be beaten. I was alone. In Shabbat. I decided to come alone to the village with one of my company commanders, and it was pretty abandoned, the village, few people over there, and we sat on a hill and we started talking about the problems, about the recommendations, about if they have plans. They didn't have plans, of course. They were sort of overwhelmed from the situation. And I asked them, what about the water? What is the problem with the water? And they said, we don't know. There is a man in charge. And I said, okay, let's talk to him. And we arrived. It was a man, very kind man, with blind in one eye. And he said, we don't have electricity. We don't have, I don't know. So we brought a generator. We brought a generator and we asked, is it okay? And he said, no, all the water system is damaged. I don't know what's the problem. Before the hurricane, it worked. Now it's not. So I got it as a mission, as a private mission, and we drove to the city, to La Lima, and we found out one electricity engineer, one of the electricity engineers in the municipality, 40 minutes each side, and we got him back to the village. And he checked the electricity board, and he said after 20 minutes, there is a problem. And we said, we know there's a problem. What's the problem? And we lack of one component, very important component that need to be replaced. And we said, okay, do you have it? And he said, no. Okay, we drive again to La Lima, 40 minutes each side. And we found this component, and it was not fit, and we replaced it. And in 4 o'clock afternoon, we connected the generator. We replaced this component, and he was near the generator, and he activated the generator, and he said, switch on the electricity. And I switched it on, and suddenly the water came out of the ground like an oil, like a oil cistern, and it came out very, very strong from the ground, brown from the mud. But we understood this moment that this village will be alive again. It was very exciting for us.
Wow, what a story! It's like Moses.
Like Moses. No, it's what we understood that the biggest problem that seems from distance like monsters, like giants, could be beaten with a lot of stubbornness. You should be stubborn. You should be consistent.
Or chutzpah.
Chutzpah, yes. Chutzpah is a very good word.
Now I know you worked with the Mexican cadena, and we have a video of you and Benjamin Laniado singing Horchata Eucalyptus. How was this collaboration?
It was very good, very, very good. I have very good relations with Benjamin, and IDF has a very good relation with Cadena. We worked together in Mexico, and this was the point that we started know each other. We invited them to participate our yearly exercise, a yearly drill. And they sent 5 people from Cadena. It was, I think, 2 years ago or last year. We also send some people to instruct them in search and rescue methodologies. Before this mission, we've talked a lot, Benjamin and I would say that without Benjamin, we wouldn't arrive this area. He was the key person for us. And we are working very good together. They have their specialties in social psychologists, and they have water filters, and they know how to keep the population in good mood, and it is very important for the mission. They also took part of the physical works that we done in the last 2 days. We have our specialties, and we are very good as a team.
Wow! And now tell us about Tali Itzhakov, which is our press and diplomacy attaché in Mexico from the embassy.
Tali is something unique. She's extraordinary. It's her first mission as attaché of foreign affairs and as a spokesperson of the delegation, and she done her mission very, very good. She's passionate. She speaks Spanish very good, and she has a wide vision of what's happening, and she can explain the operational aspects of the delegation each point of time, and she done it very, very good. I appreciate Tal very much.
Wow! And now to end this interview, I thought about something you said, that people get used to the shelters sometimes, and it's important that they don't. But now with the COVID situation, people are getting used to staying at home somehow, even when they yearn to go out. But also, we are starting to get used to stay at home. What do you think about this this coincidence, this similarity?
Mm-hmm. You don't have the same problem as they have in Honduras. You and me and the other people that are not in a disaster zone, we have our own problems. Like you said, it's a problem to stay at home, not to see people, to be singular, and it affects us in many ways. But they have different problems, and in the opposite, when you stay in shelters with COVID, it spread the virus, and the most important thing is to return people to their homes. Otherwise, you may get infection spreading very quickly. So disaster zones has its own rules.
I see. Well, thank you so much, Golan, for this interview. And now we understand more clearly what you did and how you did it. And well, you were our hero in 2017, and we hope to see you in better and nicer uh, conditions and nicer opportunities, maybe in Israel someday, or maybe here that you would come just for tourism.
Yeah, I want to correct you. I'm not the hero. We, as a delegation, we as a country, we are proud to represent the state of Israel. We are happy to see the Jewish connections in every delegation, every mission that we are doing, and it warms us and it keeps us connected along the year, because each mission has its own aftermath connections, and I hope that we will be meeting in Israel and in Mexico, other countries, in good days, of course.